person with me. Some of you are not going to want to hear what I have to say. But let's just remember, I'm married. Okay? Been married a couple times. Okay? I know what it is to get married, attract a husband, date someone, convert, court, get engaged, be married, right? So I'm going to take my time. 1, I have gotten in trouble before for saying Black women who want to exclusively marry Black men. We are in the middle of a crisis. Black men are in crisis. And anybody who denies that Black men are in crisis is ignoring the data, the science, the research, the statistics. It is not a figment of your imagination that there are not enough eligible Black men to marry. You are not imagining that. It is real. By the time, and like I said, I'm going to take my time with this. By the time you take that Black people are only 11% of the population, Black men being half of that 11%, by the time you remove the gay men, by the time you remove the mass incarceration, that when you see the populations of these prisons, and it is predominantly Black men that are, these prisons are full of Black men, full, at an exponential rate compared to our percentage of society. We're only 11% of the population, but the prisons are full of Black men. You take out the men who are already married. You take out the men who are on the down low, gay, pretending to be straight, but ain't never going to marry a woman. Or if they do, they're bearding, faking, fronting, whatever. Inside of the still group of eligible Black men in the dating pool, you still now, under heterosexual Black men who are not married and who are not gay and who are not in prison, are still going to be your gold tooth, pants sagging dudes who have 0 sense. That's still inside of that number. Black men have come at me when I say there's not enough eligible men, and they push back at me. But one of the things I've realized about good Black men is that you don't realize that, first of all, there's not a gazillion more like you. I've noticed this even with my husband. There's a lack of awareness around what is eligible and the availability of Black men. My husband thinks so many men are just like him, that there's just really a bunch of Carrie Popes running around that are solid, hardworking, intelligent, marriage material, mature, grown men who want to be responsible and want to build a family. And I'm like, Carrie Pope, no. So ladies, by the time you take out the rappers, the gold teeth, the sagging pants, the young ones who just ain't even ready for marriage, now you got a whole other demographic of Black men who have sworn off Black women, whole movements created to completely giving up on Black women. Completely. That Black women are not marriage material and that Black women are not wife material. There's not all of Black men, but there's a percentage of Black men who feel that way. And all these daggone gender wars on social media, and all the men who are beefing in, they've been hurt by 2 Black women in their life, and now they're writing off all Black women. And Black women don't do that.
Hold on a minute. Listen, you know me, yeah? I keep it $150. Okay? I like to keep it real. All right? Listen, Let me tell you something that's real. Okay. All right. I'm neither red pill nor manosphere, but I'm a person that likes to hold balance. Okay. I've said this about red pill and manosphere, Kevin Samuels, and all those kind of people who do videos, right? Whenever they quote stats askew. So they make stats fit their narrative. But I want to go to what she just said, right? She just started off by saying, first and foremost, she said, well, look, we've got so many men in the country. Well, I actually went and quickly did some few bits of stats, nothing too specific, but just to try and get us a bit more understanding. There are I think there are 46 million people who are black in the USA. 46 million adults, if you want to quote unquote say, in the USA, right? Roughly around about. I think it's about 19.89 or around about 20 million of those are black men. So around about half, right? Around about half. She says the mass incarceration, when you take that into consideration, right? Hear me out. Listen to very carefully. Mass incarceration. Well, what is that figure? Because when I went to Google it, I saw we have over 425 or 430,000 black males in prison. I want you to do the maths, right? 1.9 million would be 1% of those men. Sorry, 1%. That would even be almost 10%, sorry, right? 190,000, if I'm correct, it would be around about 10%, right? Well, about 1%. So you have probably about 4%, if that, 3%, if that, right, of your population are in prison. Hear that? Okay, cool. Yep, that makes sense. Okay, and if that, I think it's even less than 3%. It's less than 3%. I'm doing you a miscalculation on that. I think I'm even doing a miscalculation on that. So don't even quote me on that, right? So 425,000, right? God damn, what's that little bug there? And then I also looked at gay males, or at least gay people within the black community. On the whole, I couldn't find any stats quickly. I was trying to do it really, really quickly. Stats 1.2 million, if I'm correct. They said roughly about 1.2 million, if that, identifying as lesbian, gay, trans, whatever, right? So 1.2, and then you have obviously 425,000, right? Okay, so let's just, I'm giving it the most extreme, by the way, because my stats I'm taking it to the most maximum, right? So 1.2 plus 425,000, 1.6. Okay, 1.6. All right. Okay, cool. So 1.6 mil. So 1.6. And then okay, she says about the rappers. I didn't calculate that because there's no need. There is not a million rappers in this world. Okay, there are not a million people wearing pants, swagging things, whatever. But let's for the sake of argument add 400,000 rappers in this world of USA who are black males and make it 2 million. Yeah, you got 2 million minus 19 million leaves you 17 million other black males. Now she said about some of them are underage. Okay, let's take a third of that off. Let's just say like a third of them are under the age of 21, whatever, right? So that will take you like a third off it. So 2 million minus the 17, take a third of it. It's like a fifth. So let's say 5 million roughly around about it. So 5 million plus the 2 million, 7 million, right? So you now got 12 million, right? That's just as a, I'm just doing a loose calculation. You have 12 million men, black men in the world, right? Now she then wants to trim it to who's good and who's bad, and I can't really do that calculation. We don't know how many percentage is good and bad, right? But the reality of the situation is, it's not about the numbers; it's about the access. See, the reality of the situation is, as you get older, the access to men and to women on both sides becomes more difficult. Why? Because as we get older, we have more things in our filter system. We have far more settings, right? This is why in fact, the Bible even tells us, marry the wife of your youth. This is why it even tells us, marry young, because oftentimes in your youth is when you actually have access to predominantly a lot more males and women, right? When you grow up in school, you have 24 hours, you have how many hours? 8 hours in a day, whether you spend time with your friends. Then you go to high school, another 8 hours. Then you go to college, another 8 hours. You go to college or university, another 8 hours or 12 hours, or you're on campus and you spend insurmountable amount of time to make network with different people, right? The reality is, most of us in our lives after university, the only people you're meeting is your work colleagues and any particular sports or gym or things that you're out here doing. Okay, all right. So for me personally, this number doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, right? The reality is it's about access. It's not about numbers, right? This mass incarceration is 425,000 people out of 19 million. And better yet, let me say out of 15 million, if you want to call it that, better said, or even 12 million. So it's not that many people. The mass incarceration is not your issue. Mass incarceration is not your issue. Right? So is not your predominant issue. Because the white people got the exact same thing, right? I think they saw the stat was about, and it's give or take around about 300 something million or 230 something million. Now it was two stats I saw. Doesn't really matter, right? Either way, white males make half of that population too, right? Half of that population. Around about 4 or 5% of people who are white, non-Hispanic, make up for LGBTQ. So what are you telling me? Have the white people got a crisis too? What are you telling me? Have the white people got a crisis too? Because they have almost 5% of people identify as LGBTQ who are white, non-Hispanic. Okay, so are the white women and the white men got a crisis too? Right now, she mentioned obviously about the fact that people are married as well. People that are married. Well, if they're married, they're not actually a part of the problem. You know what I mean? They're part of the solution. They've been married. They're out of the game. You know. All right. So my thing about this is it's not about the fact that these mass incarcerations that people are gay and this is the reason why it's suffering. You're suffering because you don't have access. You're suffering because you're not in places that gives you unlimited access to these type of men that you're talking about, or these type of women. And it's happening on both sides. Get your ass out the home. Because the reality is you have to be able to be in spaces where these people are. The reality is this. Look, let me keep it a buck and 150. There are mad people on both sides. No offense to anybody out there, but there's mad people on both women and men's side. Some of you are not healed on the woman's side, and some of you are not healed on the men's side. Now, of course, there are men go their own way. There are men go their own way on white side too. And that's where it started. Men go their own way, started with white men. Okay, so let's stop that nonsense, because what this is fear mongering. This is exactly what I was talking about. That red pill and manosphere do too. It is here to sell money. Look, it is fear mongering. The reality of the situation is it is access. You need access. That's what you need. You need to be able to tap in to those people where they're at. That's the biggest issue. Your issue isn't the amount of people. It is the access. Okay, all right. It is the access. So for me, I find it frustrating when we have this conversation as if black males are in crisis. Are you? Let's stop that, right? Let's stop that. And you're right. There are black men out there saying they don't want black women. You're absolutely right. But when I go on Cynthia G, I hear them talking the same way, right? And there are other channels like Cynthia G when I hear them speak about black men, right? Not in the way of violence, but in the way of that, you know what, these black men ain't ish. Right? So the reality of the situation is, right, I agree with the fact that she said, listen, hey, look, open your horizons up, you know what I mean? But you don't need to do that with coupling it with the fact that there's no crisis for us. The reality of the situation is you need to expand your options because of the fact that, listen, again, it is hard to find somebody because of the pocket that you're in, the environment you're in. It's hard to find somebody. And the older you get, the less you interact. I don't want to say less you interact with people, but you have filter systems, right? Do you see what I'm saying to you? So no one's saying don't date white or date Hispanic or date any other particular thing. What I find is I think someone said it's in bad faith, right? You're absolutely right though. When it comes to us and our statistics, when I look at the Black USA population, of course, you make up 13% of the population, right? She said 11. I think I saw 13, but anyway, let's go with 11, whatever, right? I saw it. I think it was in. It's got better though. See, no one wants to talk about this. It's got better. You've halved. If I looked at PEW research, right? No one's talking about this, right? You slashed it by half. See, when people are invested in trying to fearmonger, they won't invest in telling you truths. When I looked at the stats, right, black people as a whole, right, it was 2,500 to every 100,000 people that a black person was incarcerated in, I think, 2008. and I think it went into 2018 or 2019 when I saw the PEW stat, right? And since then, it is slashed by half. Why are we not having that conversation? I say half, it's probably less than that. It's 1,500 to every 100,000. And actually, the Hispanics are just below us, literally just below us, right? In terms of percentages, right? So why are the Hispanics not having the same conversation we're having? Well, I don't know if they're not having a conversation or not, because when I go onto YouTube, and do you know what's so funny? I went onto YouTube and I typed in, how do white women feel about white men? Do you know what videos I got coming up? I got black women telling us how they feel about white women. See, the internet will continually help you to focus on whatever your history and what your search history is and stuff like that, right? It's very hard to find that nuance unless you go out there yourself and actually start having conversations with people who are of a different race to you, because the internet will actually plug more stuff in alliance with your particular race, because that's what you've been searching for. If I've been searching for content for how many years around black women and black men, guess what happens when I type in, what does white women feel about white men? All that comes up is that black women asking about white men. I was like, wait, hold on. How hard is it to find how white women feel about white men? And yet my Google results and my YouTube results keep focusing on me being a black, but me wanting black results. And I was like, I don't want that result. I want a white person telling me how they feel about white men so I can get some evidence in here. And yet all I was getting. And what does that tell me? It tells me that when you have a narrowed lens, it's very hard to see anything else. So when she said she went to the gym and saw that a third of the men are gay, well, maybe the gym that you're in is gay. Maybe there's a lot of gay people in that area. Right? Maybe there's a lot more gay people in that area. And so you're confirming your bias here. It is the exact same thing I've warned the women about, and I've warned the men about how the men too, I don't want you to be so hyper-focused. No good women are all cheaters. They all want your money. Half of you don't have enough money to be anyone to be taking. Look, and I'm being real about it. When you have a hyper-focus on something, right, you can't see anything else. You lose all objectivity. And this conversation is giving me losing objectivity because it goes to one side and not reality of conversation. Look, let's keep it real. Sisters, open up your options, right? But what she does is these loose inferrings about how black men don't provide. And I find that frustrating. We do provide. We do. Right? We do. We do provide. So I don't like that conversation. Are there trash men? Yeah. And are there trash men in the white sector? Yes. Now, is there more black women potentially? Yes. Maybe we could say that. And I don't even know the stats for that. So I'm not even going to say yes. But according to how it feels to me, because anecdotally, because of what I see, it feels like that. But I wouldn't say it is that. Oh, I wouldn't say it is that. Okay. I would not say it is that. And again, what we're talking about oftentimes is not race, it's class. Oftentimes what we're talking about, it is class, not race. And that's the issue I have with this conversation too, because we tend to bish them together when we don't want to acknowledge that oftentimes race and class intersect on many occasions, and how people behave in a certain class and what with a certain in a certain class is different to how people behave in a different class, right? That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to break that first part down.
Black women been dogged by black men, drugged by black men, completely ran over and heartbroken by black men, but still don't give up on black men. Black men, on the other hand, whole demographic of black men just giving up on black women. There are
lies. Again, this is what I'm talking about. I don't like that. That's a lie. That's not the truth. What is this? Again, provide a stat. Have you noticed she doesn't provide no stats? See, I don't like that. This is what I'm trying to say to you. Like, when you want to go into this type of rhetoric, I do not like it. It's the same thing with the Kevin Samuel situation. Okay? I do not like that same situation when we start making these stereotypes that black men black men in the swaths are just hating black women. Well, listen, you go on Twitter, you will see that black men ain't trash. Black men are shit. Black men ain't good at this, but the excuse will be, well, it must have been a black man who did it to her. So obviously a black man's fault in this redact. That's why she's behaving like that. Every time it seems to be a black man's fault. That's the reason why you're behaving the way you are, because you're without any fault. And the reality of the situation is it's on both sides, right? You go on Twitter, you type it in, you're going to find enough tweets out there to tell you how bad black women are. And they've got enough tweets out there to tell you how bad black men are too, right? You talking about there's a whole dedicated wave of people talking about what do we call divesting? The divesting is not a term we use for black men. It's a term we use for black women trying to divest out of the black men. So that's not the thing that we use for us. Now, black men have always decided to try and date out. We know that already. But divesting is a term that we often use because black women were copying it as a way to say we're going to date outside of our race. No beef, by the way. Do your thing. I ain't mad at it. And so again, let's not do that. Let's not make it like that, because then we create these rhetorics, and I don't like it because it's not true. It's not true. Predominantly black men date black women. They marry black women. The stats favorably put us that black men marry black women. See, no one wants to really quote those stats. I didn't even bring them up. I should have actually gone and got it. The last time I looked at it, right? Predominantly black men marry black women. Now there's a number of black men marrying. I think it's around about 30%, 35% compared to white males, which is 55%. Hey, we can discuss that part, right? And I'll agree with that part. I can't say everything's wrong. That part we have to work on. Why are we not marrying as much? We have to have a real conversation about what's happening in our community. And it's not mass incarceration, not those kind of things. It is distrust between black men and black women. Right? It's distrust between black men and black women. Now, the numbers are falling on all sides, but our numbers are predominantly at the lowest. Right? And that usually, unfortunately, is happening. And we have to look at some of the reasonings for that, right? It's got not necessarily to do with people being down low or anything like that, but there's other issues as to the reason why black men are not marrying, and we have to have a real conversation about that. But oftentimes that starts from a distrust for each other.
Facebook groups of black men who are dedicated to hurting black men who want to blame black women for all their problems, as if a white woman or a Latino woman, somebody who don't want you, by the way, are going to deal with your shenanigans and craziness because they got even higher standards.
So wait, the white women and Hispanic women don't want black men. So do you think the white men and the Hispanic men want black women? It's a dumb point to make, because honestly, the reality of the situation is they do want them. Not in the masses, not in the considerable masses. This is why I tell you guys, listen, people will feed into this narrative. Look, the reason why people, and I keep saying this, look, do you know why people blow up on these internets? It's because they don't want to hold a good balance. People, and I'm not saying for her personally, because her work is actually really good. I actually liked her. A lot of her stuff was really pretty good before this as well. But they blow up because they hold these very firm lines that don't want to include any nuance, so that each party can get riled up and angry. And that anger is what fuels a lot of these things to go viral. It is that frustration that they build upon, that hurt, that pain that they build upon, that they support their businesses with. Look, let's keep it a buck and keep it real. Okay, all right. On both sides, on both sides, Hispanic men, Hispanic men, and Hispanic women, white men, white women. They don't, in masses and droves, want black people in general. What are you talking about? Right now, of course, we can talk about the numbers and the percentages that might be slightly higher for, and et cetera, et cetera. But the reality of the situation, neither of those parties in mass want you, both men and women. So what are we talking about? Right? Neither. Right? That's a true point, Nelson. That's a true point. But hey, that's a true point. That's a contradiction that she made. And this is what I'm saying. You make contradictions when you start trying to feed into the emotion rather than the logic, right? When you start trying to feed into the rhetorics and the narratives without sitting down and going, hold on, I actually do understand where you're coming from. I can understand why you're frustrated. But let's really look at it from an objective point of view, right? The reality of the situation is it's not more men you need. You need access. You need to know where these men are. And that's the reality of the situation. That's the difficulty, right? Both men and women need healing, right? Because you see, if the women are healed, they can spot the good ones. And here's the problem. The more healed you become, the less candidates there are out there, because you realize how unhealed other people are. And this is for men too. When men realize how healed they are, women get excluded. Those ratchet women, if we start going down that rhetorical lane, those ratchet women and those ghetto women, and when you take them out the percentage, and when you take out the big booty bitches, you take them out the percentage too, you take them gold diggers out, like, it's nonsense. Stop that. We don't need to take them out the percentages. When you become healed, okay, all right, when you become healed, you start to see things in a different way, and your number actually dwindles because you start to realize how much you need. It makes it harder the more wise you become to actually chill with people that are not as wise as you. Yeah.
Because their culture raises them to have higher standards than Black women. So you got to step up in order to even date a white or other woman, because their culture teaches them to marry into financial security for a man to be a provider and protector. It's in their culture.
Now let's pause it here. Let's freaking pause it here. You see, this is the stuff I don't like. It's bullcrap. Let me tell you why it's bullcrap. If there's a father in the home and there's a mother in the home, and they have access to class, this is where we have to start being honest. When you have access to class, when you start breaching certain levels, when there are two parents, right? Let's keep it a buck. When there are two parents, right, and they are invested in their child, let's say a daughter, right, and the father makes good money, and maybe let's say the mom works as well, right? What father would want a man to come in, yeah, marry his daughter, and he's not financially stable? What Black man is accepting that? None. The reality of the situation we're talking about is class. It's not race. It's class. See, the reality of the situation is this, right? When it comes to any particular race, I keep saying this. There are the top. When we quote people, we start quoting the very people at the very top. They are not the majority. They are the minority. The rest of the people totally understand that at a certain level, you don't make that kind of money, and they're going to have to work together. And I hate that men and women do this. Not women alone. It's not only Rebecca Lynn Pope. Men do this too, and they cop some bullshit arguments, and that don't make sense and don't have no nuance. You're arguing from an elite position, not from the majority position. The majority of people understand that, you know what, we don't come from a family that's well off. So we understand that, you know what, you may not make a crazy amount of money. You might have to work together. In Africa, it's completely different because of the fact that women's access to work, number one, women's access to education was another thing, and so that makes it a different conversation, right? You know what I'm saying to you? But Africa will follow in the trend. Africa will follow the trend of the Western world as soon as women have start fighting for equal rights, equal pay, and start fighting for those things. Once they start getting that same thing that we have in the Western world, and again, we haven't even got total equality or total equity yet for women, and I'll be honest with you, we haven't got it there yet. But once we start getting it there, you will have the same conversation. Do you know why? Because as women begin to earn more and have more education, they want to date men that are up, right? Which forces the standard up. Okay. So I'm saying to you that, listen, Rebecca, you coming from a class that's different, right? There are people who are on another level who make average 40,000. There's a girl who makes 40,000 or 30,000, 50. She's not expecting a man to pay all the bills, right? She's not expecting a man to pay all the bills, and she can't. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. Like, we have to have two conversations, right? We have to have two conversations. When we talk about this, we have to say that there is a class aspect to my conversation, right? We have to have that conversation. That when you as a father, ask any man here. In fact, there's some men in this chat, right? Ask any man here, if a man came for your daughter and he doesn't work. Let's say your daughter is 23, 24, 25. He hasn't got any work. He hasn't been working for a few years. Would you accept him as a man to be having your daughter? That's just a real conversation, right? And I'm sure the men will answer in the chat for me. The men in this chat right now, if you have a daughter right now and a man comes for your daughter, right? And he's jobless, would you want him around your daughter? Your daughter's like, I'm taking him seriously. I'm thinking about marriage. Your daughter works. She's educated. Would you want him around your daughter? No. Right? So it's not necessarily a race issue. Black people are not stupid. Black men are not stupid. We're not stupid. We totally understand this. The reality of the situation is that when you're talking about the situation, you have to talk about what level people are at. Right? Now, if that man comes and he earns a certain amount of money and your daughter earns a certain amount of money, there are going to be some fathers who will say, listen, he should pay all the bills. And there are going to be some fathers who say, listen, y'all need to work together. Right? Depending on what level you're coming from. Right? So I'm saying that I'm not discounting what black women are going through. I want to make it very clear. This is not to discount what black women are going through. It is more to refocus the attention. Okay? So I'm saying that in reality, right? In reality, I'm saying that there are problems on both sides, right? Now, what I think she should be doing is a separate live saying, listen, we need our men to continually to grow. If that's a conversation we need to have, fine, because that's a separate conversation. We need our black men to get into more education, to go further the education. We need more black men to be involved in fatherhood. Okay, cool. We can have separate conversations, but when we start almost doing it like it's a comparison against our white counterparts, I don't like that. I really don't. Because I just think it's disingenuous because oftentimes people don't do their research. Look, white people are suffering. Let me show you something.
Really angry lately?
Not all white men.
I said some. According to precarious man theory, when men don't feel masculine, they tend to act out in stereotypical gendered ways, which is why you're getting pushback from the men in your life for just existing. But it's not you. It's white men. They're a little fragile right now. Here's why. See, white men used to be able to raise a family, buy a house, and retire on one salary, their own. But thanks to growing income inequality, that's something white men can't do anymore. And that's throwing off some really comfy gender norms. You know what else white men can't do anymore? Afford to keep a full-time spouse at home, have job security, depend on federal mortgage programs to help them buy a house, and rely on subsidized, high-quality healthcare, subsidized retirement programs, and Social Security. These entitlement programs were part of the privilege of being a white man, and it must be enraging to watch them slowly slip away at the hands of growing income inequality.
Let's pause it there. You got the same issues on the white side. This is what I'm trying to tell you. See, I'm trying to say, if you get too invested in trying to be this warrior for listen, on my channel, I don't accept the nonsense that happens when black men try it with black women. I don't invest myself in that nonsense. And I also don't invest in nonsense when black women do the same to black men. I am not here for it. They are having the same problems everywhere. Okay? They're having the same issues everywhere. It's not because you're black, but it's because you're black that you see black issues. Okay? Right? It's everywhere. So I just want to be real about it, right? Real about it.
So I'm in the gym the other morning. I'm on the treadmill. Black men working out all around. I look, I'm paying attention. A good third to half the black men I see in the gym are gay. Ladies, and that's not my imagination. Everywhere I look, it is gay black men. It doesn't matter why. We can talk about why. You can go into all the whys, ladies. It doesn't matter. I'm on the phone with my therapist this past week.
Maybe you're in the wrong gym. Maybe you need to go to a different gym. Do you see what I'm saying? This is how it works. You see, and she's not lying. Maybe the gym she went to has so many gay men. Okay, you're right. Go to another gym and find out. See, many people won't move gyms because they're comfortable in their space. So you will only see what you see because you go to that gym. Now, if you went to another gym, would you see the same thing? See, that's what I'm talking about, access. You know, that's what I'm talking about, access. And again, someone said in Atlanta. Of course, in Atlanta, look, in Atlanta, we know that there's a higher density population of that. Then the situation might be you might have to take yourself out of Atlanta. Right? Don't make it that it's a black issue around the globe or around the nation when you are only focused in one area. Do you get what I'm saying to you? It's easy to say what you're saying when you're focused in one area, and then have your confirmational bias because somebody else sees something similar too. But you need to come out of that pocket.
This week, I'm saying to her, I've never been more happy. I'm in such a great place. So much peace and balance, and Carrie pays 95% of the bills. I've never been in a place where I did not have the financial pressure. I am provided for and taken care of. I still work, but I'm not under the pressure I was previously. And I said, Dr. Pam, that's my therapist. Dr. Pam, is this how white women feel? When a man is paying all the bills, I've never been here before. I'm just being honest with y'all. I've been 50-50. I've done my part. I've done more than my part. Y'all have been in course with me. I've been honest. I've paid 90% of the bills. I've been paying all the bills at times in different marriages. I've been in all the different situations. It's the first time in my life that a man is taking care of me. Thank you, Carrie.
So let me be real with you, right? Because I'm coming from a social economical level. And obviously I'm coming from UK, so it's slightly different, right? So I can give you a perspective of what perception looks like. From the UK, I've not heard a white, Asian, Southern Asian, if you want to call it that, Eastern Asian, if you want to call it that, black, whatever. It's a very much rarity have I spoke to any woman in the UK. I'm trying to give you perspective now. That said, I have all my bills paid by my man. You know why? Because the level of people that I interact with, they don't have that conversation. Do you see why perception is important? On my level, we don't have that conversation. On my level is one thing, but probably two, also in UK, we don't have that necessarily that perspective. When you take yourself out of it, all right, again, this is what I'm trying to say to you. Your perception is guided by your perception is guided by your attitude, but it's guided by your beliefs and what your experiences are. The reality of saying the situation, okay, is I'm saying to you, in the UK, most people don't earn enough to be able to pay all the bills. So this conversation about a man paying all the bills, yeah, you know what? If you speak to a Nigerian or you speak to someone from Africa, especially Nigerian specifically, I love them because they be doing that stuff, right? The reality of the situation, when most people come to you, when most people come together to the UK, they suddenly realize how hard it is. Everybody's paying their bills. Now, of course, there are families out there that have reached a level that they know that the man can pay all the bills. But again, what am I telling you? It's not the norm. Because even people from Africa, when they come to here, they're like, "Oh, I thought I was good to pay all the bills, but when I look at it, it's not easy." Yeah, it's not easy. I can be real with you. Paying all the bills is not easy. Now, it's not us being lazy. It's the reality of life is most of you don't qualify for that level. And here's the thing. That's also the biggest issue, right? Here's the thing. The maddest thing is that many of the women want kings. Here's the reality. There's not many kings in the world. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? There is not many kings in the world. Some of you are going to marry generals. Some of you are going to marry superintendents. Some of you are going to marry foot soldiers, right? Not everybody can marry the king. You know what I'm saying to you? And this is a real conversation. All right? It's a real conversation. So when she's now saying, is this how most white people feel? Is this how white women feel? No, it's not how white women feel. It is how classist people feel when they reach a certain level. You dig? Right? It's how people who are of a certain class, how they feel. Do you get what I'm saying to you?
Anthony Pope. But I said, this is the reality for a lot of other women. This is the reality for a lot of Latin women, a lot of white women. This is what it feels like to not have the financial burdens of a household on you.
And so this is why I believe it becomes disingenuous, this now situation, is because she's now, oh, this is how Latin women feel. This is how white women feel. So you're saying that black women don't have the situation? No, at the level you're at, no, black women don't have this thing. At the level that most people are at, black women, Hispanic women, white women, they don't have this thing either. At Caribbean, they don't have this thing either. And that's why I said I felt like it was disingenuous. Watching the whole video now and breaking it down, you can see why I feel like it's a little bit disingenuous. And I'm not saying that she's not making certain points that are true. What I'm saying is I don't like when we co-opt points in a particular way to try and, all the people in the comments are like, so true, so real. Like, let's look. I'm just going to show you some comments. Look. After watch, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look. You have to get rid of the label good black man because as long as he has a pulse, he's a little bit of money, takes care of his kids, and says he believes in God, a higher power, he's good. Just because he's a man doesn't mean he wants a good either. Does anyone know the statistics of longevity of interracial marriages in America? I agree with this video, but only thing I disagree with is the idea that most white men are good. Thank you very much for this. Good point. Obviously, you're not paying attention to the manosphere. I don't want to hear the manosphere. Beautiful woman, you popped on my YouTube again, treating me. I had to work listening to your musical message. You chat shit. This makes me sad because that means slowly but surely their plan is working to eradicate the black family. It's finally clicked for me. I needed this video. I'm now opening my heart for more better and opportunities. I want to be married. I love that point. Modern women, feminist BS wrapped in. Yeah. I don't want to hear your voice. You have to be protected. This is so true. Okay, ma'am. So your own husband disagreed with you, and you still decided to spread this nonsense. Oh, no, about that. Because, thank you, Rebecca. This is such a powerful and brought me to tears. Your blessing. Okay, sign me up. I'm not on socials though. I'm glad to date and not marry non-black. I'm not picky about height either. There are some black women who have given up on black men. They call it leaving Blackistan. Oh wow. We're all-time low when it comes to respect among both our genders. I will give the black woman the edge when it comes to being disrespectful. Okay. I went back and forth. Should I comment here? But I decided to post because I'm too happy as I've ever been. I'm engaged, getting married next year. My previous relation, in which we had a child, was with a black man. I was so frustrated. My needs so unmet. We were so culturally different. My culture, Hispanic, has so many more expectations from a man. This was a good man on paper, low educated, college degrees, smart, good looking, etc. But he was raised to take care of himself first. I would never have been happy. And he would have never have married me. So for whatever it's worth, that's my experience being in a relationship with a black man. Just say you meet trash people. You know what I mean? Anyway, you can go through the title. I mean, you can go through it. I know I'm reading, you can't see it, but I want to just go through some of the situation as well. Look, all I'm saying is that you can be. I think everyone should be open. I'm not saying anybody should not date any particular race. I'm saying be open. You know what I mean?
Right now, I'm at my best. I don't wake up stressed. I'm able to lean into my feminine. I am cooking and healthy and watching, monitoring the things in the family, helping to take care of Carrie with his health and his food, and I'm ease and flow, and things are just so amazing. And I began to think, and my therapist said to me, she says, Rebecca, you are experiencing something that very few black women will ever experience. You are experiencing what very few black women will ever experience. This is from a therapist. My therapist is in her 50s. She's been a therapist for over 30 years. She is so experienced, so wisdom, knowledge, woman of God. She's amazing. And if you reverse engineer what she's saying, ladies, she's saying to you what I'm saying. If you are a Black woman and you want to be married and you want to lean into your feminine and you want...
Pause. Listen to what she just said here. This is why I don't like what her points are, right? Listen to what she just said here. She said, if you want to be married, listen to what she said. Listen to what she's really saying to you. I want you to, I pause it there for you to listen very carefully now what she's saying. If you want to be married and you want to lean into your femininity, listen to what she's about to say.
To be more provided for. Not to say you don't work. You guys know how hard I work. My money is now going into investments. My money is able to go into savings. We're able to do so much more with my money if Carrie's paying 95% of the bills. It's a partnership. But if you are a Black woman right now, you watch this video, YouTube, and you decide that I really do want to be married, Rebecca. One, this is what I said the other night in class. Please pray and open your heart to ask God to help you go beyond dating Black men. You have to open up your options. To love and be loved is one of the biggest blessings in the whole wide world. And ladies, listen, you can say, Rebecca, I want a Black man. I want a Black man. I don't want to date other Rebecca. I want a Black man. That's fine. I'm married to a Black man. I am not denying you a Black man. I'm not. But I'm simply saying is that if you've been barking up that tree and that's not flowing for you, and you don't have a ring on your finger, and you're dating and the options you're getting are not marriage material, I'm saying that it is better for you to be loved by a good man rather than just a Black man. I'm saying it is not meant for you as a woman to keep navigating life by yourself, paying all the bills by yourself, the pressure of independent single women. I just had lunch with my new friend, Iyabo, Dr. Iyabo. And she said, Black men are Black men. She's from Africa. And she said she's married to a white man now. And she said...
Pause. See, it's very clever. I don't like it. It's very clever. Because what she's doing, inadvertently, what she's doing is almost making the comparison between Black men and other races, as if we aren't great at providing, we're not great at protecting, we're not great at being partners. In fact, we're not good men. You know what I mean? So you have to be very careful. It's the way the rhetoric's being spat. And it's very similar to what I was saying about Kevin Samuels, about how he puts his rhetoric across. It sounds, you have to listen very carefully to how you put your message across. Right? Very careful. So if I say to you, I can say to you that, listen, Black women, be open with your options. Be open with it. Right? Not because white men are greater than Black men, not because Hispanic men are better than Black men, but in order for you to have the greatest amount of options, open yourself up. Simple. All the other kick-cat that she's adding is where, someone might say anti-Black, we can add that in there, it's where the nonsense comes in. If you're saying about be open to options, just be open, just keep it. Hey, listen, you know what? Black women, keep your options open, right? Because it's going to give you greater a chance of being married. All the knick-knack around it about we're incarcerated, all that kind of stuff, and all of it is a little bit, you know, all that slight sliver there, okay, it's a slight jab, right? It's a lowering of Black men in order to lift up the other races. You don't need to do that. You actually don't need to do that. All you need to do is let Black women say, hey, look, there's white men out there, Hispanic men, okay, who can love you, appreciate you, provide just like the Black men that you're looking for. If the Black men if you've not found a Black man, open your options up. There may be white men or Hispanic men who too can also do the exact same thing. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And then we move with it. Right? And then we move with it. And then it's good. Then it's like it's not putting down any particular person at all. You don't need to do it. Right? And by the way, if you've watched me long enough, you know I've said the exact same thing about black men. You know I've said the exact same thing. So if you watch me long enough, anybody here watching me, I said the exact same thing about black men that do the exact same thing. I do not like it. I hold everybody accountable. I don't play this game of trying to put it on one person or the other. I hold everybody accountable. If you're going to come with that rhetoric, we're going to call you out.
It ain't no different with the African men. It's still the BS. We have a cultural issue, guys. Cultural issue. And if you want to be married, let me stay on point. If you want to be married, I am giving you my best advice that the love of a good man doesn't matter if he's green, purple, yellow.
This should be her message.
It doesn't matter if he is daggone fuchsia. I would rather you as a woman know what it is to be loved and cared and provided for than to stay out here navigating life all by yourself, waiting for a black man when they are few and far between. Those of you who are good men, black men, we love you and appreciate you. I'm not putting down black men, Aunt Weezy 86. I'm simply speaking about real life and real statistics, real numbers.
What number? Listen, what stats and numbers did she provide to you guys? We are in how many? We are 14 minutes into the auntie's advice. Tell me one stat she gave you guys. Tell me one stat she gave you. Tell me one stat she gave you. I'm talking real stats and real statistics. What stats and statistics are you talking about? Because I ain't got it. What stat did she give? We've been watching her for 15 minutes. I did a video the other day as well too. 15 minutes. Sis ain't giving us one stat, one thing. This is why I said be very careful. People like to give anecdotal advice, and that's not a problem. But then keep it nuanced. Apologies. All my silences are not going to be cleared up by this moment. Okay? All right?
Not enough black men. You want to know why black women are the least married demographic? Because there's not enough marriage material black men.
Does that make sense? No, wait, hold on. See, that's what I'm talking about, skewing things. Okay, so let's say there's not enough, black men are one of the lowest when it comes to being married, right? It's because there's not enough marriage material men. Is that the only case? Or could it be the case that these black men too are suffering what you're feeling, that you feel that the black women are suffering? They can't see through the fog of the trees. They're not seeing enough quality black women. Like, it's easy to do one side or the other. Okay? It's easy to do one or the other. Right? But when we don't do nuance and leave it as, well, if black men are the lowest of marrying, clearly there's not enough marriage material men. Well, maybe there's not enough good black women out there for them to marry. Right? But I'm not even making that point because I don't want to make that point. I don't think that's a fair deduction to make. I think if we're going to be nuanced about it, we have to be real about the fact that we have to be real about it and understand that marriage goes hand in hand with the way that our families are often built and reared. And we do need to have more men in our home. I agree. What we do need to also focus on is also encouraging those men to economically strive and educatedly be focused minded as well. And when we have to have a real conversation, because the same conversation we're having, white people are having the exact same thing. Right? As equality comes in, a majority of men, not just black, a majority of men are struggling with their place in society. I don't believe so. Black men are significantly higher and are still not marrying or divorced at a higher rate. Well, if they're not marrying those, if they're not marrying outside their race, if they're meeting people from outside of their race and they're not marrying, why are they not marrying? Since those other races are so intent on marrying and so high in it, why are they not marrying? And what if they get married and they're not good, what's the point? Why I'm saying that is because we need to keep a balance, you know?
And black women are some of the most high achieving demographics of women on people on earth. Black women are pursuing next level education. Every Black woman I know is got multiple degrees, graduate degrees, constantly pursuing goals, education, income, taking courses, trying to improve themselves. And at the end of the day, where are Black men at? Where are they doing the work to make themselves marriage material? Because now the stakes are even higher. As Black women have come into understanding of healing and emotional intelligence, now we don't only want a marriage material Black man, you want an emotionally intelligent Black man.
Well, like I said, this is not a Black issue. This is a man issue. Okay? Because like I just played a video for you, the white men are suffering the same way. I'll play the video for you so you can get a little understanding.
But you know who else is angry? Women and people who aren't white. See, we've been
Let me go back.
subsidized
so you
retirement,
can see this.
comfy gender norms.
Right?
House and retire on one salary, their own. But thanks to growing income inequality, that's something white men can't do anymore. And that's throwing off some really comfy gender norms. You know what else white men can't do anymore? Afford to keep a full-time spouse at home, have job security, depend on federal mortgage programs to help them buy a house, and rely on subsidized high-quality healthcare, subsidized retirement programs, and Social Security. These entitlement programs were part of the privilege of being a white man.
So the struggle we're having, okay, is on all sides. Listen to what I'm trying to say to you. Now, of course, listen, I'm not going to say that, the marriage aspect. Yes, I agree. Our stats are very low. 30% of Black men are getting married compared to the 55% I saw for white men. Right? I agree. There's a larger issue at hand in that particular issue. That one, I won't wrestle with you on. On that, I won't wrestle with you on. And I'll say, yeah, you know what? I definitely understand that part and I definitely hear that part, right? And there needs to be some re-education and rewiring, okay, of marriage in that aspect, right? In terms of how we're teaching about marriage and the importance of marriage in that aspect. That one I can say, you know what? I'm hearing you. You know what I mean? I'm hearing you loud and clear. We can work on those aspects. Let's take that as men, and let's work on that, right? Have real conversations about it.
Somebody who's doing their work too, spiritually, emotionally. Where they at? When I say that Black men are in crisis, I'm not exaggerating. Ladies, our Black men need therapy. They need deep healing work. They need generational healing work. C-Sal says women are waiting until they're too old. Coco Blade says that part, we're preparing for men who aren't prepared themselves. And then by the time you have a man on a higher socioeconomic level, we're wondering why do they marry other women? Because those are the women they're around on that level. And then those women are the women who are used to being provided for and protected by their fathers and men. So these are women who are in touch with their feminine, who men prefer. And so Black women are sitting here stuck because we're frustrated and hurt. And we've been walked over and taken advantage of and hurt and broken. And we're having to do all the work to heal that. But then you're frustrated and overwhelmed, raising kids by your Black man that's not there for you, that you tried to make a life with. Single mothers, we know it's an epidemic. Single mothers don't make themselves single all by themselves. Black men are not in the home raising their kids. Are there some of you? Yes. And we applaud you. But the statistics say in overwhelming numbers that Black fathers are the number one fathers that are absent. So guess what, Black women? You fall into this can't win. You got to be mom, dad, provider, protector. You got to do it all yourself. Well, what energy does that put you in? Masculine. Then you're exhausted. Now you're frustrated. Then they want to say you're angry. Vicious cycle.
I can rock with that.
Listen.
I'm gonna be mad at that.
What I'm saying is if you are a Black single woman and you want to be married, I'm tired of seeing you struggle. I'm tired of seeing you hitting your head against the wall. Nothing wrong with giving a good Black man a chance. But it's time. that we see more Black women married. I've said it 100 times. I said it inside class. If I was to ever do another matchmaking business, I would do a matchmaking business for non-Black men who want to marry Black women. There are millions of other men who love Black women, who will marry Black women and treat you like a queen. It's time for you to change your type. Your type needs to be good man. Your type needs to be husband material. Your type needs to be whoever's going to love me, provide and protect me so I can lean into my feminine. Aunt Weezy 86, do you think men of other races fetishize? I can't ever say that word. Fetishize us. Listen, just like anybody else, there's going to be people who want things for the wrong reason, just like there's Black men who just want to screw you. They don't want to marry you, but they'll screw you.
So then what's the point of you giving this advice? Because there are going to be bad people on every side, which is the point we're saying. There are bad people everywhere, which is why I want you to, that's what I'm saying to you. Let's stop co-opting the point. There are bad people everywhere. So when you make your point, make it solely about, you know what, expanding your options. All right. So listen, all the talk she's talking about, right? All the talk she's talking about, Hispanic men are not, Hispanic men also too are incarcerated at almost the same level we are. The stats are beforehand in 08, it was so bad, right? We were miles. If I'm saying miles, I'm talking about US Black men were miles. The stats were, it was 2,500 for every 100,000 men who were incarcerated, right? And all that stuff. And then you talk about, obviously, but in I think it was 2018 or 2015, it came down to 1,005. And I think the Hispanics are 1,004. It's like, yo, incarceration, we're not that different. Now, when it comes to obviously families being led, okay, we can talk about that. You know what I mean? I have to look deeper into the stats, and I'll go and look at the stats when I do the third video, and look at the different stats as well. So we can kind of outlay that as well. If anybody has any stats as well, by all means, send it to my email. Love to, or send it to me on DM in Instagram. Love to have that conversation.
It is time for you to grow up. It's time for you to open up, take the limits off. I want to see Black women married to Black men, white men, Asian men, Latin men, European men. I don't care. I want to see Black women thriving in a family unit, sharing roles and responsibilities so that Black women can thrive. That's what I want to see. I want more Black women living a softer life. If it is not 100% soft, fine, but softer, easier, less stress, less responsibility, partnerships where you have a life partner who is doing life with you. So you are not all by yourself. I've been a single mother. I know what it is to raise sons on my own. Thank God my sons have turned out well. But ladies, listen, this is not easy. It is not easy. You deserve love. Black women have more pressure on them than any other race of women. Black women are expected to be it all and be the salvation and savior of Black men. Because by the time you get one, you got to go through so much to get him to a point of being healed and healthy too, not just yourself. Because Black men are hurting so badly, but we can't heal them.
I agree.
I can't heal Carrie. Carrie had to get his own therapist and work on himself. I was supportive in his healing, encouraging in his healing. But Rebecca couldn't heal him. I couldn't fix it. He had to work on himself. The stereotype of the strong Black woman is old. It's overplayed and it's old. It's time for us to soften up. It's time for us to have a soft landing. It's time for us to have a soft place to land. It's time for us to be able to rest in our ease and flow, to be provided for and protected. It's time for us to be valued for who we are, not what we bring to the table, but just who we are, like every other woman. What do we bring to the table as women? Love, comfort, joy, partnership, peace, compassion, understanding, nurturing. That's the feminine energy. That's why God created woman. That's who we are. Intelligence. Mina says, I never hear other races asking what their women bring to the table. You're not going to hear it because a man knows why he wants a woman. He wants her for all the stuff I just named: sex, food, love, comfort, nurturing, being a best friend, to be the mother of your children. Hello? It's not that complicated. Why have men for thousands of years wanted a woman before current times? Right? It's not complicated, guys.
I mean, you're still bringing something to the table. I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't know. But you're absolutely right. We don't want to be obviously asking what we bring to the table. Absolutely. Nobody asks that question, but you do ask that question. Let's just be honest. We do ask that question, right? Let's stop pretending as if we don't ask that question. When you ask that person, what's your education? What's your background? What, you know what I'm saying? What are your visions and goals? You're asking what you bring to the table. Now, of course, you don't want to be asking someone directly, what do you bring to the table? I think that's childish. I don't think we need to ask those type of questions. And I think that's nuts to be asking people that. I don't think we need to necessarily ask that. But the reality is we do actually ask that question. We just don't ask it. We ask other questions which give us an idea of what you actually bring to the table. Now, it's some bullcrap when we start saying about we don't ask a woman what you bring to the table. When you ask me, what do I bring to the table? Because when you ask me what my educational background is, when you ask me what my job is to work out how much money I make, you're asking me what do I bring to the table. It is absolute nonsense to lie to ourselves and say nobody asks what we bring to the table. We just don't ask that question directly. Right? And that's not every black man. Again, I hate the fact that we get a certain few black men who ask this question and they get labeled as all black men. It's so annoying. You know what I mean? Like, it's so annoying. You know, we're going to ask the men why they're not going to want to be married. They're going to tell you that you women are the problem. We're going to ask the women why they're not getting married. They're going to say that you men are the problem. Well, guess what? Both of us are the problem. Both of us are the problem. We need to work it out. You know what I mean? We need to work it out. So we need to work out for both sides what is the reason why we're in this issue. You know what I mean? So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm next here on I should be here on Monday, but the thing is I don't know what time I'm getting back. That's my badness for me. I think I'll probably do it Tuesday. So I'm gonna do it Tuesday night. Yeah, Tuesday night's our night anyway. So Tuesday night I'm gonna put a live up. You know, so we can. I love for that, man. Thank you so much, Godson. I know someone else sent something in as well. D, I appreciate you as well. Thank you for that. Love for that as well. Thank you. And also Godson. I wish for all black women to just be married out already. Black men will be okay. I appreciate the super chat. I mean, listen, you know, marry. I don't mind who you marry. You know what I mean? Because I think naturally, as anybody's race, you're gonna marry. You're gonna be race loyal. And there are going to be people who want to marry outside of that. That's cool. So we need to look now at how both of us can start working on healing and how we can start looking at, because the men I'm surrounded by want to marry black women. But again, I'm in UK, I'm not in US, so it's slightly different. But the men that come to this channel, and I want you to notice something, the men that come to this channel and stay want to marry black women. They want to marry a woman. You know what I mean? So you have, that's what I said to you, like, when you watch where are you? And I'm not saying that my audience predominantly men. It's not. It's predominantly women. So let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it real. But even the men that are on this channel, like, they'll tell you, listen, they want to be married, and the majority want to marry black women. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, we are gonna have that conversation on Tuesday night. You know what I mean? Why is our marriage rates so low? Right. So I'm gonna put up a live on Tuesday night. And we're going to ask the question, why are our marriage rates so low? What can we do to start increasing that? You know what I mean? Like what's going to stop us from actually getting to that place? You feel what I'm saying to you? What's going to stop us getting to that place? So, yeah, I look forward to that conversation on Tuesday night. It'll be about 7 p.m. 7 p.m. EST. In fact, let me set up a thing on my phone. I'll do that. you know, and we'll have that conversation. And if you got stats, bring stats, guys, you know, because we want to have a real conversation. And it's not about bashing the other party. It's about how do we bring solutions to the table so we can start moving the conversation forward. And like I said, the majority of the issues that we're having right now, it's got nothing to do with more numbers. It's access. You need to be in the right place and find the right kind of person. You know, so let's have that real conversation as well. So, you know, let's do that too. Yeah. So it's tight out here. And you know, I want to ask the question as well. What is your, you know, Kasim? Okay, yes, Kasim. Shout me. Kasim, if you want to add me an email, send me an email, guys. Yeah. So if you want to be part of the conversation, send me an email. Let me just put my email in the chat so we can get this conversation on Tuesday night going. You know, let's have that conversation. Yeah, I'll wear a better shirt, Felicia. I'll wear a better shirt on Tuesday. I'll keep it closed. You know what I mean? I'll keep it closed on Tuesday, I promise you. But my email's in the chat, guys. If I spelled it wrong. Sorry, hold on. It's me typing like a madman. I apologize. Hold on. Okay. gmail.com. Apologies. There we go. So again, emails in the chat. If you have my other email, you can hit that one up too. But just send me an email, guys. That you guys want to be part of the conversation. I'm going to put a post up before I go out as well. We're going to have that conversation on Tuesday night. I've been looking for a topic that we can really dive into. And I think this will be a great one to do. So just again, email is lbb91 talks at gmail.com. Yeah. And we want to have a real conversation. My spelling's been off all day. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm losing it. But I want to have a real conversation about as well about this, right? So let's have a real conversation on Tuesday night, and we're gonna look for solutions. So men and women, if you're coming on Tuesday night, I want you come. You're gonna come give your point of view, but you're also gonna come with some solutions as to how best we need to move forward and how we can do this, because it's really important that we get that going as well, you know? So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. You click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you. It's been a good conversation. I'm going to be out for the rest of the next 2 days because I've got to do some stuff. But we are trying to get more men around this channel. And I really do appreciate the men that have spoken, spoken in this conversation. And those of you who spoke up in the chat, please, Tuesday night, I need you here as well, because without having men being vocal, and I'm not, without being vocal in a more positive way, the women don't know we're around. They don't know that we have a voice. They don't realize that, we have our thoughts and our opinions too. So if you're one of those people that are one of those good men and you're in my chat, listen, I want you to come as well on Tuesday night. Bring some friends too, and let's have a real conversation about what we're really facing in this 2023, because both men and women are suffering, you know what I mean? So both men and women are suffering in that respect, let's get it going, you know what I mean? All right. So yeah, CPerk, I got you already, bro. I'll add you to list already, CPerk. I already got your details, bro. So I'll add you to list straight away, bro. Tuesday, 7 p.m. EST, guys. 7 p.m. EST, yeah? Tuesday night, 7 p.m. EST. I'll put up a link as well. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get that going. Okay. All right. So let's get it going, baby. Much love. And you know what? This woman.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
Appreciate it, guys. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again soon.